Labor Talks was John DeRosier, recorded at Chippewa Valley Community Television in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Good day. Welcome to Labor Talks. Today's guest is County Board Supervisor Kathleen Clark. Cathy represents District 13. She also serves as the chair of the Human Resources Committee, and she also serves on the Administrative Committee, which practically runs Eau Claire County. You're very welcome for that compliment.
Thank you.
She also serves on the Highway Committee as well as the West Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission. Cathy, welcome to Labor Talks.
Thank you for that nice introduction.
My pleasure. Now, there are those people who say that Eau Claire County government has grown too large. We've heard those type of rumors. So, how many employees were employed by Eau Claire County in 2009 or 2010 and now in 2015? Can you give us a rough estimate?
I can go back to 1996 when really Eau Claire County was probably at the peak of its employment. We had at that time 638 and a quarter full-time equivalent employees. Now you have to remember we had the landfill then, and we also had the Center of Care nursing home. And then once those were sold, the number of employees continued to decrease until the new jail was built. And we kind of went up in 2011 when the jail opened because we had to have more correctional officers. And right now we're sitting at 528 employees. So it hasn't gone up. It has gone down.
That sounds reasonable. Mm-hmm. If you have less employees now than when you had then, of course you've got less employees.
Right.
We're very logical here, folks. Now, how has Act 10 affected relations between the union, that is AFSCME, American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, and the Human Resources Committee? And let's keep in mind that Cathy is the chair of the Human Resources Committee, and I used to be on the Human Resources Committee, and if there was ever a fair person running the Human Resources Committee, it's Cathy.
Thank you. I am sorry to report to you that AFSCME is no longer a union. Its members, under Act 10, they had to recertify every year. They decided not to recertify for a number of reasons. So the Human Resources Committee has changed considerably because we no longer see the grievances. It's very different. One of the reasons that recertification didn't really seem to make a lot of sense to them was all of their bargaining rights were taken away, with the exception of salary bargaining, and those were limited considerably. I think our relationship with the employees, almost all of whom are non-represented now, remains good. I know they get frustrated over a number of things that have or have not happened. One of those is the classification compensation study that we entered into about 2 years ago with a firm out of Minneapolis, and they didn't do their job. And so it dragged on and on and on. And employees were getting very frustrated because they weren't getting step increases and those kinds of things, and they weren't being able to be reclassified. And so we told them thanks but no thanks to the firm that was doing the study, and we went into contract with another one that has promised us that about the beginning of June we should have our results. Then it'll be up to the county board to decide how they want to implement any changes that are recommended. And there are some cautions there. If we do anything, we want it to be done fairly. And so at one point, when you were on Human Resources, John, we had 5 unions. We now have 1. That is the WPPA with the non-supervisory deputies. They are the only union that is still operating as a union.
That's sad.
It is sad.
That really
It is sad.
sad.
Somebody said to me, boy, I bet you're glad to get rid of all that union stuff. And I said, you know, that was the most fun part of the job. It was. I loved working with the union and the union members. And that's been taken away from us.
How has this affected, have county employees been forced to pay more in health insurance premiums or retirement premiums? Have they seen a reduction in their coverage at all?
Well,
they don't have the clout of a union now. So.
No, the retirement benefits, of course, they paid nothing before. And now they're paying the employee share of those benefits, which is half of the amount paid in. That, you know me well enough to know when we were negotiating, I really thought that that would be a wise move. It's paying into a savings plan rather than just, you know, expecting the employer to do the whole thing. So that has cost them some. Insurance, they always were paying, they had paid 10% of the premium for quite a while. Bumping that to 12% didn't seem like a big jump, but we have seen insurance premiums increase. We have seen co-pays increase. Out-of-pocket expenses increase. And let's face it, salaries just have not gone up to help compensate for that. So we've had, in fact, one of the employees came to me one night, and there was 1% put into the budget for salary increases. And she came up to me and she said, okay, I've got this idea. Don't give us any increase. You guys just handle the increase in health insurance, because they'd get a 1% increase in salary, base salary, and then health insurance would go up. So it would cost them more, even though the percentage didn't increase. And I'm not sure how much longer counties in this state can continue to operate and provide the services that we need to provide with tax levy limits, limits on salaries, limits on bargaining. It's a scary picture, I believe.
So, when people start complaining about lack of services, what it boils down to is this: less revenue coming into the county, fewer people, less time for them to work. That's what it comes down to, isn't it?
It's heading in that direction. And, you know, there are roads in this county that really need to be repaired. We have the lowest PACER rating in the state as far as roads are concerned.
Would you explain that, please?
PACER rating is the system that they use to evaluate the pavement condition on any roadway. 1 is poor, 10 is good, excellent. Ours are pretty low. And the money, well, and it's a national problem. It's not just an Eau Claire County problem. So somewhere our congressmen and our legislators are going to have to take up that terrible word tax increase to pay for roads. I don't see any other way.
Has Act 10 done anything to reduce county government spending? I haven't seen it.
Budgets continue to go up. The one thing that it did save was it did save a little bit more on health insurance premiums, and it did save, of course, on the retirement that the portion that we now don't pay. But as far as saving other money, no, because as the state reduces their financial aid to the counties, the county has to come up with it somewhere.
That money has to be made up somehow.
Right.
Somewhere.
Right.
You've already answered this question, but I'm going to come right out and ask it anyway.
Okay.
Because I know that you are a wealth of information.
You have great faith in me.
I've seen you in action. Do you believe that Act 10 has diminished the role of the Human Resources Committee or the Administration Committee? Because you are also on the Administration Committee.
Administration Committee, not so much. Human Resources, of course, as I said, the committee doesn't deal with a lot of the issues that we used to deal with, grievances and bargaining and that sort of thing. But I think for the Human Resources Department, there hasn't been a decrease. There has been an increase in the amount of time that it takes to put manuals together, work with the internet, all of those things that the Human Resources Department deals with. So.
And that's it.
And they have a small staff.
I know.
Yeah.
And they are overworked.
Yes.
And how they managed to show up in a good mood was beyond me. It really was.
Well,
they're doing,
right now, they're doing a reorganization of that department. Not necessarily hiring anybody new, but changing some hours around, making one person who was 3/4 time, making that person full-time, and using money saved from one of the employees giving up her insurance in order to make the payments.
Next thing you know, it's going to be 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be like that. On another subject, what is the purpose of the West Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission? You're on that commission. What do you do?
I'm glad you asked that question.
That makes two of us.
In fact, they're right down the hallway from you, from this place.
This is true.
Yep. I brought a handy-dandy little guide that was put together all about the Regional Planning Commission, and it was handed out to county board members a couple of months ago. I'll give one to you.
No.
Now, the Regional Planning Commission is a seven county commission. It was created under state statute in, I think, the early 70s. And they work with 7 counties, as I said: Barron, Chippewa, Clark, Dunn, Eau Claire, Polk, and St. Croix make up the West Central Regional Planning Commission. It's charged with planning for the physical, social, and economic development of the region that it serves. It provides technical assistance. It provides loan money. It provides advisory services for all of the counties, municipalities, and townships throughout the region as requested They don't go in and force their will on people. As requested, some of the programs that they do are safe routes to school, which when cities or districts have highways running through them, they come up with plans to get the kids to school safely so they don't have to go through bad neighborhoods. We don't have any bad neighborhoods in this region, but in other parts of the state, I'm sure that that's part of the planning for safe routes to school, safe routes to get them over busy highways and so on. We do, the commission does placemaking, and that is looking at a community and determining what could be done to make it more appealing site-wise. They helped with the Haymarket Plaza placemaking program. Community members get together, they look at the area, and they decide, okay, what would help this be inviting, attractive, and someplace where people really want to be. I took part in one of the exercises up in Thorpe. And it was, we divided into groups and walked down the main street and decided, okay, we could do this, we could do this. This building needs to have a facade makeover, which there is loan money for. And there are just, lots of things that can be done and a lot of our communities have taken advantage of it. We do the regional business fund loans. Right now they're in the middle of planning for the future of transportation in the region, and I just want to give a plug. There is a survey online right now that they would like people to go on and click on the survey and take it. The website is WCWRPC.org. So, it would, a lot of people, basically it's how do you travel,
Yeah, now the West Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission is right up here on the 4th floor. It's just down the hallway. Feel free to drop in and see what they do.
Yep.
I believe that this commission supported the high-speed rail.
Yes.
And that would have brought in, I don't know how many jobs, but a few thousand jobs and a few $1 million as well. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now we have about 9-10 minutes left. So would you like to see more direct communication between the Eau Claire County Board and our state legislators?
Of course.
Okay.
Twice a year we have a legislative breakfast at the courthouse, and we invite all of the area representatives and senators who, work for us. And of course, not all of them can make it all of the time, mm-hmm. but we appreciate the fact that they do come, listen to us, but I think we need more communication. And when our governor talks about standing up to 100,000 protesters for Act 10, he wasn't even at the Capitol, so.
No, he was out of town.
Yes.
I know, because I was one of those protesters / terrorists down there, and to be very honest with you, that was an insult. That really was an insult, comparing us to terrorists.
Somebody posted on Facebook that he probably could handle ISIS very well, making the comparison, especially if ISIS was impassioned enough to break into song.
That's true. Mm-hmm. You know, those songsters can be pretty rough sometimes, too.
They can.
Now, one of my main concerns is the amount of revenues that is not going to community television. We are going to try to get the state of Wisconsin to raise revenues for community television. I suspect you might support something like that.
I would. It's important. I mean, city council meetings, county board meetings, school board meetings, all of those things being on public television. And I'm amazed, always amazed, at the people who come up to me and say, watched you on TV. You know, they watch.
But do they?
And
I'm
I
sorry.
think they listen. I think they listen.
Have they asked you for your autograph yet, Cathy?
No, they've asked me for road repairs.
Well, they know who to talk to, obviously. Now, seriously, we're asking the state legislature to grant local access back to community television. If the state legislature can do that, just allow local control to Wisconsin community television, that would really help. So, for all you folks in television land, please contact your state legislator. Let them know that you support community television, and let them know that you would like to see more revenue come into community television. And do you have anything you would like to add?
Well, on that note, the county budget is such that I know community television has been acting under some constraints financially from us. And we've got to do something to free up some money somewhere.
Okay. Well, that's our program for today. My thanks to Cathy.
Thank you.
My thanks to Cathy for being here. And of course, my thanks to the viewing audience who obviously make the show possible. Again, Labor Talks can be seen every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. on channel 993. Don't forget, Western Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission. Drop in and see what they do. They actually do some good work. And again, please contact your state legislators and let them know that community television could use additional revenues. Thank you very much.
Chippewa Valley Community Television is made possible by continuing community support. If you would like to volunteer or make a donation, you can contact us by calling 715-839-5067 or on the web at www.cbctv.org.